Morning, everybody. This is Jagdish, and I would like to introduce Vishu. Vishu is working with Sumo Digital and is a art lead over there. He's going to present on importance of concepts in game design and their conversion into 3D assets. And I welcome Vishu to take care of this presentation. And I hope you all are enjoying the conference so far.
Hello all, good morning. I'm Vishu, a lead artist from Sumo Video Games Pune. I've been working in this industry since 2005 and I have worked in almost all formats of the games. Today, I'm going to share a part of my experience through a small topic. Before I begin, I would like to tell you about my working company, Sumo Video Games Pune, in brief. It is a member of the Sumo Digital Holding Group, UK. Sumo Digital, founded in 2003 at Sheffield. It is a licensed developer across all Microsoft, Sony and Nintendo gaming platforms. Expertise in developing and growing licensed IP, always on cutting edge. Today, it is one of the UK's largest independent game developers. In Sumo Digital Holding Group, we have 5 studios: Sheffield, Nottingham, Newcastle, and the Chinese room Brighton are in UK, and Sumo Video Games Pune is in India, where I'm working. Coming to the titles, within a span of 15 years, we have produced over 60 major titles, and they are including recently released Forza Horizon 4 as well as Hitman 2. Coming to the Sumo Studio, it is started in 2007 with 30 plus artists to work alongside UK studio. Now the number has gone up to 80 plus, including coders, designers and animators, along with artists. Still, there is a lot of scope for new talents. Together, we have a long history of consistently delivering AAA titles for all major platforms. I'm proud to say that in 2017, we released our first self-published title called Snake Pass across multiple platforms, which was highly acclaimed. Now, we'll get into our today's topic. Nowadays, if a person wants to build his home, he visits architects first to design it in a beautiful way. Architects visualize it, plan it in paper or in a digital way before going into the actual production. Once they are happy with the final output, they will for the on-site construction. That is how an architectural field works. In the above case, what we saw is a perfect start for a particular task. That is a proper preparation. That is needed in every field to complete our assets easily in a planned timeline. And so it is needed in our gaming making process. If you see in a video gaming making process very closely, we see only 3 phases. That is pre-production, production and post-production. The preparation part comes under pre-production, where a group of decision makers sit together, decide about look and feel of the game. Once they decide decisions, they present their ideas and decisions in the form of sketches and drawings, finally in the form of paintings. Thus presented paintings are technically called as concept arts. Today, I'm going to talk about concept arts in game design and their importance in their conversion into 3D assets. To make the content more understandable, I have divided the topic into subtopics. They are: what is concept art, their importance, points to be considered while creating 3D assets from concept art, and the process in brief, and finally the flow chart. We'll go one by one now. What is concept? A concept art is a visual representation of one's ideas, thoughts, or a plan to use in different medias like gaming, films, animations, etc. at the start of their project to develop a look and feel. They are presented in 2D digital art or hand-painted designs. We can easily, in a simple words, we can call them as a pictures or a 2D art. Concept art creation is a highly creative job which needs more abilities and knowledge in fine arts. Usually, skilled artists do this job. If someone has an idea about a game or a film, he has to put more efforts to explain it in words. But if he does it with a picture, it's very easy to convince the investors. That's the reason one of the world famous quote says, a picture is world of thousand words. Very true, right? Concept art first time used in early 1930s by Disney Studio in automobile designing. Coming to the types, we have various types in concept arts, but we can categorize them in main three: characters, props, and environment. Next, my subtopic is importance of concept arts. Concept art plays very important role in art side of the game making. Why they are so important? If you see closely all these points, you will understand that. Now, we'll go one by one. First one is clear visual direction. Digital art creation is of the world of infinite possibilities. That means anything is possible here. At the same time, a group of artists working together for a project, they make without a proper visual direction, they may produce n number of errors due to multiple individual thoughts. So, to avoid this, we need a clear visual direction. Through concept arts, we can provide that, since they made under the guidance of art directors. That clearly shows a message to the whole team what exactly is needed. If I want to say it in more understandable way, I can relate it to the Google navigation app, which act as a guide for our tour to a new journey. In this image, you can easily see the visual details. What kind of art we are going to make, what style we are following, what kind of colors we are following. These are all the details we are get from this image. Second one is aesthetic. What do you mean by aesthetic? It is a set of principles underlying work for a particular project. In pre-production, a set of decision makers decide this part, mainly emphasizing style of the architecture, character looks, and lighting, etc. In this image, you can easily identify the nature of the architecture, lighting, and the colors used. If you set a common guideline to the whole team, it is easy to maintaining the aesthetic nature of the whole game. Next one is quick and cheaper. If you have an idea, you can present it in a concept art very easily and quick, because it is easy for iterations. Whereas visualizing a concept and direct converting them into 3D asset is a complex job. It needs more iterations and more chances of big changes. Big changes means rework, extended timeline. That's the result. Cost will go up. Our process should be cost effective. In real life too, major surgeries are expensive and the duration of recovery also too long. That's why we always go for concepts. In this concept, if I want to present it in a concept art, it can be take 1 or 2 days. But if I want to make directly into 3D asset, it will take minimum 2 to 3 weeks. That's why better we go with the concept art first prior to the asset making. Next one is variety. Design and art are both exploratory in nature. That means the final outcome, what we are seeing in our game, they are the result of exploring the different options. The presentation with variations on a single subject makes us easy to pick one. I'm showing you a one concept of healing concept. It shows more variation in terms of creative output. So finally, we can see the four, and out of them, we can pick which is right for our project. That's how the concept art makes variations and easy for picking one. It is like our shopping. We always choose a mall or a big shop for the to get more variations and options to pick the suitable for us. Coming to the creative freedom and uniqueness. Creative freedom, nowadays everything is available on internet, but our creative ideas and plans, they are not available ready-made. So it is creating a golden opportunity to create something new and fresh. With a creative mindset and knowledge, an artist can come up with unique piece of artwork at the end, something which is you should proud of at the end. In the image, it is one of the unique art creation. Since they are one more advantage of this is since they are fresh and new, there is no copyright issues and licensing issues. Seventh point is avoid wastage. In some of the projects, we do create assets without proper planning. At the end, they may not be used in the games because of various reasons. They may not be gelled with the existing assets in terms of details and styles. If the asset is not using in the game means the painstaking time taken during modeling process, it is going to be waste. It is just like preparing a food for a dinner for a king, just guessing his dinner menu rather than actually knowing it. You may prepare a delicious food, but the king never wishes to eat it unless and until it is in his dinner menu. That means your valuable time, energy, and expenditure go into dustbin. That should not be happen. So, if you want to move toward zero wastage, you have to use concept art first. By looking at all these reasons, you can now easily understand the importance of concept art. Next, our topic is points to consider while creating 3D asset from a concept art. So when we get a concept art for making 3D assets as a reference, we should not rush directly making the 3D asset. First, we have to study it. But how we have to study it and in which angle we have to study it, we'll see one by one. First one is study the art requirements. This is the first and foremost important step where we have to study our concept art carefully in terms of colors and level of details, color patterns, color palettes, and the texturing patterns. You have to study the details as much as possible at the starting point because it clears a lot of things for your asset making process. Next one is plan. Plan it as for the game platform, plan it for poly and texture budget, and finally plan it as for the time allocation. Actually, all these 3 points are interconnected. If you know one, you can easily understand the other 2 details. For example, if you if you know the details about the game platforms, like if you are working for bigger platforms like PS4 and Xbox One, definitely your poly budget and texture budget as well as the time allocation is more, whereas the smaller platforms like Nintendo, Switch, they take relatively lesser. Next thing is details consideration. Before I going to explain about this, I have to tell you about the word called benchmark asset. Since I'm using this word in my next explanation, I think most of you know this meaning, but still I want to tell you because I'm seeing more of students here. Benchmark asset is an asset with a level of quality that can be used as a standard to compare with our working models. That means it is a kind of role model. We have to refer it after working our model. Now, explanation for details consideration. If the given concept is showing more details than the benchmark asset, we need to prioritize the details, ignoring the small ones. And in other hand, if the concept art is showing lesser details, we need to add the necessary details which are required for comparing with the benchmark asset. In this concept art, uh, by seeing this, we can easily understand that this is made for higher platforms. The level of details, the small details, they need for the higher platforms. But when we asked for to make it for lower platforms like Nintendo Switch, we have to prioritize the details and we have to pick the bigger ones so that we can show them in the small screen. Next one is managing missing details. Sometimes we get concept arts in a single image. That means when we get the concept art, only one or two side details we see. Other details we can't. So in that case, we need to think about the other side details. In this example, uh, we are uh, we are seeing only details about front and side details, and we are missing top and rear side. So for this, what we can do, if it is a simple subject, we can uh, draw it and get approved it from our concerned lead before adding them into our working model. If it is a complex subject and we can't do it, so better way is we have to go back to the artist who created this concept and ask for the other side details. Next one is dynamic assets. In game, we do create both static and dynamic assets. In dynamic assets, what we see is how they are functioning and what are the details we need to add at the modeling stage. In this image, this is a beautiful image of a car, but we are not finding where exactly the front bumper, where the doors are coming, and where from the rear bumper is started. So before starting modeling, we need to clarify those areas by clear markings, like only this area is coming for, we'll name it, we can as a front bumper, this is front door, second door, and this part will come under rear bumper. So this makes easy for the modeling stage to cut the models in a proper way. Next one is proportions. In proportions, we have to think in two ways. One is against the game metrics, and the second one is as for the shapes. First, we have to understand what do you mean by game metrics. Game metrics are gameplay related technical aspects. These are predefined specifications that we need to follow in our modeling stage. For example, size of the step, height of the wall, etc. If the concept is not matching with the metrics, we need to make some necessary changes required, and retaining the overall look and feel of the concept art. This is a concept art made by one of the artists, Nick Foreman. It is for our recently released Hitman 2 project. When we got this concept and when we compared it to our working model, slightly it is not matching with our metrics. So what we did, we changed the railing height and number of steps to match with our metrics. This is the in-game screenshot from Hitman 2. To avoid this kind of metric issues, nowadays concept artists are using white box renders to create the concept art. Here again one more new word is come, that is white box. What do you mean by white box? White box is a basic form of a future game asset which is already added in the current working level. So in this image, this is one concept created by a well-known concept artist Lokudu. What he did, he took the actual game assets render and he painted over that. This makes very easy for the 3D artist to create it in a better way, because uh, when they take white box render, they will cover all the game metric related aspects. Next one is proportions as per the size and shape. Sometimes, usually what we get, the proportions of concept art and the asset we are going to make are with the same proportions. But sometimes we get they are in different shapes. In this example, we get the concept art with one proportion and the white box with some other. So in that case, white box is proportion is final for us because this is used already in the game. So in that case, what we have to do is we have to convert our concept art details to the white box proportions. So here what we did, we converted the details into white box proportion, and this is the result. It is picked from the game. These are the points we have to remember. These are main points actually, and other than this also we need a lot of angles to study the concept art. Next one, next our subtopic is process of creating 3D asset from a concept art in 3ds Max. Here I am taking a concept art of two sides. With this, I'm going to tell you about the process only in steps because of time constraints. So, as I told you earlier, if we get a concept art in a single image, we get only two side details. So, in that case, first we have to think about the other side details. So, what I did, I just sketched it in a simple way, and because it is a very tiny subject, and there are no more material variations in that. That's why I just sketched it, and before going to start the actual production, we need to approve it from our concerned leads. Next one is asset planning. Asset planning is the next step of the concept art. Concept art already shows you the details, but sometimes we need to define more in terms of materials, because whatever there in the concept, we can't use materials in all the games. That's why we have to define the materials in this step. Coming to max setup, this is not important, but if you add it in your max viewport, this is very easy to compare your working model with the concept art. If you get single image concept, we can use them in the perspective image, or if you get concept art of multiple images for a same subject, we can and they are, if they are in multiple views, they are presenting in orthographic views as well as in perspective views. In that case, we have to load them in their perspective viewports and the perspective. This is our first step in our production. Once you are set up your max and all, start modeling only to matching it with a concept visually. In the first step of in the process, our main concern is to get more right proportions and shape. We don't need to match it 100% with the concept art, but we have to work more on visuals in proportions. We can also achieve it with our basic shapes available in any 3D software. One more thing I need to tell you here is we always compare our blockout with concept arts in perspective image, perspective viewport, because the concept which are developed, they are based on the perspective principles. Next one is detailed stage. In detailed stage, once you are happy with the blockout, start adding details. If you want, you can take them in another softwares like ZBrush, or it depends on the artwork you are working. That all details are important. Develop a habit of improvising the details is always a good practice, and it improves your skills. This is the image of detailed model of the blockout. Before jumping to the next level, first we have to check it in all the angles, because since we are working on 3D model creation, we need to correct our models in all angles. Next thing is texturing. Once you are happy with high-res model, go with the process, whatever we are following in our game making pipelines. Use any 3D texturing softwares, texture it, and compare it with concept art. If needs, make changes or refinements until you get happy about your work. We used the Substance Painter for texturing. This is the final result. Once you are happy with the final result, submit it for QA. Next point is approval from your concerned leads at important stages. This is very, very important, because your leads are the persons who approve it at the end. They know better than you in terms of details they needed and the planning of the project. Artists should always have a regular interaction with your leads in terms of your progress, or at least at the stage basis, because it will end your process very easily without much rework. Conclusion is, if you follow all the steps carefully, definitely you will end up with a good result. Good results always earn good rewards. Next and final subtopic is flowchart. Flowchart explain you how the process starts from storyline to the 3D asset creation. As I told you in the beginning, art directors, first they take the storyline and the game mechanics will decide. It is exactly like film production. In film production, they decide story first and the presentation, how we have to present it. That's the same way, first storyline will decide and then game mechanics, that means gameplay. With using storyline and gameplay, art directors, content writers, coders, creative directors, project managers, game designers and producers, they decide about the look and feel of the game. After that, they use illustrators and 2D artists to make sketches, drawings, and if needed, clay molds also. And finally, they present their illustrations. Once the illustrations are final, they use concept artists and make concept art. I'm a 3D artist. That's why I'm telling you. We use concept art to make 3D assets with a project pipeline, guidance from our respective leads, and QA. We make 3D assets for the game. If the topic is discussed in an easy, understandable way, that is because of my preparation. So I would like to thank and give credits to the website, sharing the info for sharing information and for the supporting images for the preparation. If you have any questions or doubts, you can ask. White box, okay. White box is a basic form of our future asset. So in the planning stage, what the designers do, they create one basic form. So in that basic form only we have to create the asset. So we can't go beyond that. This is called the white box. This is with the proper dimensions. So it is just a form without any details. And the placement also, it is very important. Where exactly it is placed and how much size it has. So those details we have to use, and we have to use as our start point of our asset making.
When we're creating it in a 3D model, only we have the front image only reference.
Okay.
What are the back and the sides part?
That's what I told you in my previous slide. Okay, here I took this concept art for my process. Here I'm getting only two side details. We are not getting the other side details. We have to plan for it. If we have that skill, we can definitely do that. In that case, we have to think about the other three side images. So if we have time and skilled persons, we can take the help of them, or in a safer side, we directly go to the concept art creator who created that art, and we ask for the other side details. See, we are 3D artists, we are not concept artists. We are not responsible for that. That's what I'm telling you. We have to know the details of other sites so before going into the actual production. Whatever the details we are adding, that should be matched with our original image. Then only it will looks like it is belonging to the same asset. Otherwise, the one side shows different details and the other side shows the different details. That should not be look like of a single object details. So that should not happen. We have to take care of those things also. Whatever the details we are adding additionally, they should match with our existing details in the concept art. Okay, thank you. Thank you for attending the session. Have a good day.
Hello. Thank you very much, Vishu. It was a wonderful session.